Hello, everybody. The previous presentation, I don't know how you followed that. I wish I had been before. It was phenomenal. Thank you very much, Liesl. So this year, I presented this conference around the world. I've traveled about and Santiago, Joburg, South Africa, also here, obviously. And so what I wanted to do, and I was asked to do, was speak a little bit to some of the things that we've done. Because we talk about the business case a little bit, but I'm going to touch on that today. I'm going to touch on the business case. I'm going to talk on some of the things we've done and try to provide just our insights into the projects that we've worked on. Some of you have been to this conference before. You have seen my favorite cartoon. So if you've seen it already, I apologize for that in advance, but I just like it. So again, we're talking about hybridization. We hear a lot of terminology being used today about microgrids. I don't know what a microgrid is particularly. It's not because I haven't asked the question, but we stick with this terminology, hybridization, because this is what we're talking about, is taking combined solutions of wind, solar, and thermal generating assets. So I think this is fairly well understood conceptually. So people ask me, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you working on? And so what I wanted to do today is speak to some of the ones that we have ongoing. These are not projects that we think we might do. These are projects that we are doing. And then I'm going to talk about some that we have done. And I'm going to talk about a couple of different opportunities that we've looked at. But so Red Dog Mine, this is Teck Resources. This is a project in northern Alaska. Again, very similar to Diavik in its latitude. This is an Arctic project, multi-megawatt wind. So this is, again, a project that's integrated into a community, which happens to be a First Nations community. So there's all the issues surrounding that and the land use and the appropriateness of the equipment. It's in the Arctic. It's a current phase is feasibility, so we're going through the placement, micrositing to some degree of turbines, but mostly about the wind resource and assessing the ability of this project to support the loads that are at the mine. This project, it has a port. The port only operates during the summer, so it has a little bit different profile than a diamond mine. Great news about diamond mines is a small airplane can fly out the entire month's production. Not so much with a project like Red Dog. So the next one is QMM Rio Tinto. We finished this project. We're not finished it, but we're on to the next phase of it. This is a project in Madagascar. And so the operation is a solution mining operation where ilmenite is extracted from sand. The sands are, from ilmenite is extracted titanium dioxide. And so it's a very interesting project. Hatch was the original design engineer of the project, built about 8 years ago. And so this sits on the southeast corner of Madagascar. If you see that picture, we're looking out over between the Fort Dauphin, the city, and the Port of Ihola in the distance. The only thing between those wind turbines and the only thing blocking the wind is Australia. And so this is essentially an offshore wind regime. And so we're excited about this opportunity. Again, multi-megawatt wind, rural Africa. This has its own challenges. Africa is one of my favorite places to go. It's just phenomenal. The people are wonderful. They're accepting, and you feel comfortable there, and so I really recommend it to anybody who has a chance. Current phase feasibility, so we completed the feasibility phase. We understand what sort of generic sizing that we could use and the type of technology, and we've looked at some of the preliminary wind resource data that we developed for this. Our next phase is integration, so a lot of interest still from this client to go further with this project, and I'm going to speak a little bit about this later. So we're excited about that project. Raglan, I think you're going to hear from Pierre and others today. So this is the project was Xstrata, now Glencore. So this is a intercon turbine, very similar in configuration to the one at Diavik, or the ones at Diavik. And so again, an Arctic project, all the challenges associated with the Arctic, and excellent learning experience for us. Michel Corot is here today. He's also very, very involved in this, and welcome you to ask any questions of him. But the experiences at Diavik very closely mirror our own experiences at Raglan. So again, one of the things I wanted to expand upon today is, as you've noticed, for the last 3 years, Hatch has been sponsoring this forum, and the reason for that is because we believe that there's a great future for renewables and mining. This does not preclude us from looking at other areas where the similar types of technology can be used in what would be considered to be more mundane sort of circumstances. And again, we've had some inquiries and done some work in this area just recently, and I just bring it up just because I want to bring a sense of enthusiasm to the idea that the technology, the processes, the things you're learning about how to integrate renewables into mining projects have uses in other sectors. And so in the case of this, we're looking at mega infrastructure projects. We have client projects. The Port of Long Beach is an excellent example, where although the irony of this is that they talked to us because they were so impressed with the work that we had done on Arctic wind, that we had done in remote Africa, because the Port of Long Beach, which is basically in downtown Los Angeles, if it doesn't operate, then there's an entire segment of the U.S. economy that doesn't operate. And so they have mission critical need to provide power. And so they want to put in wind, they want to put in fuel cells, they want to put in LNG. They need to do this because they just do not have the ability to provide any other means of getting to both their sustainability goals and their independence goals. And so this is a very interesting opportunity, and we're continuing to work on that. We did a project for the state of New Jersey Port Authority, again, looking at wind. And these are, I hate to tell you, but that top picture is a picture of the port with a photoshopped in wind turbine. So don't get too excited, but okay. All right, so past projects, people ask me, what have you done? What have you done? I say, oh, we've done a bunch of stuff. And being the way that we are, we're not good at promotion. Hatch, for some people, who knows we're not a public company, we're a privately held employee-owned company, and so we don't talk about the things we do a lot. I'm not sure that this is going to read that well on the screen, but if you can, I'll just go through some of these things, and if you have questions about these, feel free to ask us, because this is why we present this information. But the first one, Kanji, so this is remote project for the Innu in conjunction with Enercon, that's northern Quebec. We did that last year. Xstrata nickel, this is actually this is Raglan before it became Glencore. So Teck, so we did projects for Teck, numerous projects for Teck, including Wintering Hills, a large wind farm, and also the Sun Mine solar project in Kimberley. Xstrata, again, it was another LNG PV combined project. Barrick Gold, Africa, Barrick Gold, I don't think any of the folks from ABG are here. It's all now called Acadia, so that is, again, integrating PV into a remote mine in Tanzania. Again, a very good business case, confronted with all the same issues that you'll see commercially and technically that are associated with every other mining project. Barrick Gold in Nevada, again, we look at projects that are in, you'd be surprised, but we do have inquiries from clients about hybrid power projects in continental United States. And the reason for that is because they have certain expenses that they're going to occur or are incurring relative to upgrades to transmission systems and the such that they may need to undertake in the future because of the age of the project, and or they have the opportunity to lengthen the period over which they amortize the renewable asset because they are grid operated. Grid interconnection is not necessarily a bad thing for a hybrid power project. It does provide a commercial outcome post life of mine. One of the things we've done for Barrick, and I think it's on the next list. Okay, I'll get to that one in a second. But so Element Power in Chile, Synergy, very good client in South Africa. PV projects, 30 megawatts of PV. Xaro. If people who are from South Africa, you'll recognize some of these names, but these clients are very active in this area. Kinross, this was Tasiast. So Tasiast is a project. It was the Red Hill, I think was the name of it, gold mine project, and so very large heavy fuel oil requirement there. Open pit mine, sub-Saharan Africa, excellent PV resource, somewhat delayed due to the commodity price cycle, but again, a phenomenal opportunity for hybridization. Confidential one, I don't even know that one. Xaro again. The Barrick Gold project, which is 2/3 of the way down the list, this was a project, and I'll give you an example of the opportunities that you should expand your mind to consider, is that Barrick has a project that is so high up in the Andes you need an oxygen certificate to go up and visit the mine. It's an open pit, and it has a transmission line connected to it. Well, why? Because that's what they needed to operate the gold mine. Well, so now the consideration is that we have a mine that is on care and maintenance. Why don't we integrate large amounts of renewable into this care and maintenance facility? Because we're going to use the transmission line that's going down the hill. If you bought and paid for an interconnection to the grid, why don't you use it? Now, if you're in the PV industry, anybody here that is, you'll know that if you get into that type of altitude in Chile, You think about the phenomenal solar resource that exists there. We had a hard time calculating how well this thing was going to perform because it doesn't fit into any standard model. And so again, great opportunities. Again, that's, Barrick to their sake say, why would I, go into the energy business now? Well, the energy business is good for you because you have a mine on care and maintenance, and that costs you money. You have to keep staff there. You have to monitor that facility. You have to monitor this environmental footprint forever. So why don't you use it for something? And so these are opportunities that we've looked at. Again, a couple of projects for Xstrata. You'll see down through here projects. This is not a new topic. Our first project in this area was in 1987. That was when the government of Canada thought this would be a super good idea, and so they engaged us to talk about it. But so this is innovation in the mining industry. It only took 10 years. This is a highly innovative cycle, some would say. But things take time and they take persistence, and that's the way that we're approaching it. Okay, now here's the advertising section. I don't know if Emily's here in the crowd, but one of the things that was added to the scope of discussion for this conference was about energy optimization. Mines get built in certain cycles within the capital market. I could say the capital market cycle. There's sometimes when people say, how can I get ore out of the ground faster and I can process it? I don't care what the energy cost is. Other times people think about optimization, all right, and how much does the capital cost? And so mines of all different breeds are out there, and some of them have a lot of need for energy optimization, certainly a service that Hatch provides. You've heard some people talk about ISO. The accreditation, we think this is a powerful tool. We guide clients along in this path. Electrical and natural gas savings, obviously this just goes right to the bottom line, and so why not take the lowest hanging fruit that you can? And so we're a big proponent of that. Energy optimization management, energy design reviews. During the engineering phase, I work in an engineering company, and you wouldn't be surprised to hear that people, when they're asked to design something, have a bunch of parameters under which that they're designing it. And one of the most significant ones is capital cost. And it's important when designing something to just at some point say, okay, let's just stop for a moment and let's consider the energy implications of what we're doing. And that's an exercise, like a gateway that we think is a very valuable tool, and we recommend it to everyone. Finally, some of the services that we provide are surrounding dashboards connected to energy management systems. Visibility, I think, is a really important component of understanding your energy consumption. Certainly, the day has come where we need to understand the rate at which we use things, and we think that this is an area that could experience significant amounts of improvement. Okay. Okay, the gap. I think it was early today. Someone used this same parallel. I like my cartoon. I especially like the little guy on the pole vault that's going across. I've watched some clients not make it. So the gap. We're going to talk about this, and I'm going to try to put some simplification to it, at least from my perspective, and certainly welcome to any input in this area. What's the gap? People say, what is this? What is this? What is this? Right? And it's really a simple matter. I talk about the average uncertainty. Clients are not able to actually comprehend or digest all of the uncertainty of all the elements of the project because they just don't have time. And so what they tend to do, they tend to look at it as a holistic, all right? They say, oh, if I've got 100 issues and the uncertainty of these are on average plus or minus 15%, this is what's going to drive what I would call the depth of the chasm. And there's a certain point at which you have to improve this ratio or this formula because if you fall into the chasm, the fact that you fell for 20 seconds or you fell for 10 seconds, if you're dead at the end, nobody really cares. You have to get it up to a point where somebody can understand that if they trip and fall, that they can get back out again. And so this is an important issue on the depth. The yield equity expectations is related to this. I have innumerable situations where companies or individuals or people have made representation to me. They said, don't worry about all this uncertainty because this thing's so cheap that it doesn't matter. Okay? This is not working because even though somebody comes along and says, well, if I'm going to get, maybe we can drive this to 25% equity yield, then anybody will do it. No, the mining client will say, no, we're not doing that because you don't understand the cost of shutting my mine down. Do you mind if I send you that bill? okay? And that's not okay with the mining community. It's all assumed that the level of availability, the quality of the power, and its predictability will remain unchanged or get better. Okay. Okay, so one of the things that we have a change of our position here at Hatch, and the reason for this is we've gone through for 3 years working with clients on the opportunities, and we're an independent consulting firm. We provide advice to people. We're a technology company. We're not an EPC company. We really work hard to not stick our nose into our clients' business, and so that's been our way. But to that extent, what we found is that projects aren't getting built at the rate which we think is reasonable. We're frustrated by the fact that what we see is an excellent opportunity for our mining clients, our historic mining clients, and for our renewable power clients goes unfulfilled. So what we're going to do, and what we've taken a position at our board level is that if there are projects which require the injection of equity on a case-by-case basis to cause them to be considered to be real in the eyes of the other stakeholders, then that's something that we would undertake. And it's not because we want to have performance on equity. It's not the reason for it. We're not investing in development. That's not something that we're in the business of doing, and it puts us at cross purposes to our clients. It's about putting equity forward to quality projects that enable the well-being, health, and future of our clients. And so to that extent, we're going to do this, and we're inviting our clients to ask questions about what can be done. I think some of the projects that I put up earlier today that we're doing development work on are really good candidates for this, because I think that my belief is that gap that I talked about earlier. Some of this needs somebody to step up and say, hey, I'll take care. There's a lot of people who want to participate, and they have different levels of commitment. But there really has to be somebody that, hey, if this thing isn't working, who are we going to go look for? And our clients need that. And in the absence of having somebody they recognize that understands their business, they're extremely hesitant to do it. And so this is why the position that we've taken. All right. So that's about it for me today. Any questions on all these things? I know there was a fair amount of things, and the representative experience listing was a little bit hard to read. Sorry about that, but I'm not computer skilled enough to make that be bigger. I tried. Any questions about energy management, please let us know. Happy to answer those. All right, thanks.